Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review. A pair of mirrored birds lean towards one another, the colors bright but soft. If you look closely you can see that their bodies are forming a heart. Nearby, Gue, delicate sweets, sit arranged with care. Judging by the colors and shapes they promise wonderful flavors. Each one tells a story of ancient traditions and of the practiced hands that shaped them. It is a quiet celebration of heritage and harmony, of the culture of Peranakan, Tiles and Tactics by Eugene Lim, from Genie Games with art by Eugene Lim. The main reason why I was so keen to review Peranakan, for short, is its links to an important diverse culture. As the rulebook explains, the word Peranakan points to someone who's born locally, because Anak means child, but who also comes from somewhere else. It's about the fusion of many different ancestral cultural identities from the Malay-Indonesian archipelago. That fusion has led to something entirely new and very distinct. The game focuses on the culture's tiles and sweets, the Gue, and it uses Peranakan words. For example, as you play so-called Nyonya and Baba, which refer to women and men respectively. Nyonyas were known for their amazing culinary skills, intricate needlework and other artistic skills. Babas, on the other hand, often became merchants or community leaders. Of course, there's a lot more to Peranakan culture than the game portrays, but the rulebook does a great job of explaining this and giving you more information, such as about Peranakan cuisine, fashion and even architecture. Simply reading the rulebook makes you want to find out more. As the game's full title indicates, it's all about tactically placing tiles. You take turns taking one of the tiles that come in 4 different patterns from the offer row, which allows you to immediately take one of the Gues, which also come in 4 different flavors. That's above the tile you just took. Then you place a tile anywhere in the 5x5 grid before deciding if you want to put one of your Nyonyas or Babas on top. You keep taking turns until any of the placed Nyonyas or Babas conditions have been met. Nyonyas activate when the row and column that they're in are complete. Babas activate when they're fully surrounded by 8 tiles. Think of them a bit like the monasteries in Carcassonne. As each of them activates, the player who placed them gets the sweet printed on the tile that the meeple is on, plus a sweet printed on all of the tiles matching the same pattern of the tile beneath the meeple that are within the triggering tiles. I know that sounds complicated, but the rulebook explains this much more clearly. There are also plenty of illustrations to ensure it all makes sense. What I'm basically saying is that we check the pattern the Nyonya or Baba is on, take the sweet printed on that tile, then find all the other tiles with the same pattern that are either in the same row or column, if you're activating a Nyonya, or the 3x3 grid that the Baba is in, if you're activating that. I hope that made more sense, but as I say, when you read the rulebook, it'll all be as clear as day. Your goal in Peranakan is to collect sets of the 4 different Gue sweets. So you have to think about which tiles you take and where you place them. Quantity isn't everything. You want to get the same number of all 4 different sweets. Depending on how competitive and ruthless your gaming group is, that can lead to quite cutthroat tile placement. It's certainly not uncommon to take a tile to give you the type of sweet you need to complete another set, then place it in such a way to spoil the scoring opportunity of an opponent's Nyonya or Baba. Also, while you normally place a tile into an empty grid space, you're allowed to place a second tile onto an existing one, even when there's already a meeple on it. You can only stack tiles once, but that alone can devastate another player's scoring potential. However, you can never be too mean, because you need to get all of your Nyonyas and Babas onto the board. They're the best way of getting lots of sweets. So if you end the game with some still in your supply, you'll probably have lost. At 2 players, Peranakan feels like a mix of checkers and Carcassonne in a very weird way. Of course, it will feel especially mean because there's only one opponent. So bear that in mind and think about who you might want to play this game with. When there are 3 or more of you, it starts to become quite manic. You have to be very careful about your tile placement, and you can't expect your scoring potential to still be there when the round comes back to you. At the same time, being mean to other players doesn't feel quite as bad. I really love playing Peranakan, especially at 2 players. It scratches my tile laying and pattern matching itches at the same time. While it's really very much an abstract strategy game, the link back to the Peranakan culture is really important. That the rulebook doesn't just explain the game, but also talks about the culture is even more important. The fact that a Singaporean designer is self-publishing this game brings it all together. Seeing someone with local knowledge interpret a culture's history and represent it in the game is so refreshing. Of course, the game also plays really well with more than 2 players, and if you're not that interested in Peranakan culture, you will still have a lot of fun. There's a certain distilled, clean and elegant simplicity in the game. The strategic depth ensures you will be playing it many times, possibly in short succession. The artwork and cultural link round everything off and give the eye and the mind something to enjoy too. So, if you want a clever, easy to learn and relatively quick to play game with a lot of tactical and strategic depth, and or if you want something different that might broaden your cultural horizon at least a smidgen, then Peranakan Tiles and Tactics is definitely worth trying. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my supporters. Royal Patron Sean Newman, Magic Champion John Risley, Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay, and Shining Lights Jacob Davis, Gavin Jones and Richard Simpson.